if John Edwards is convicted, he could serve time in jail. So was this a wise move on his part? I mean, as a legal guy, how would you counsel John Edwards?
Well, ask me in 6 months when we know what the result of the trial is. Then we'll figure out whether it was a smart move or not. I don't know. I mean, it's important to point out this is a very unusual criminal prosecution. It is unusual for anything related to campaign finance law, Federal Election Commission law, to result in criminal charges. There have been, as far as I'm aware, no criminal prosecutions based on someone giving money that turns out to be not a gift but a campaign contribution. I mean, just the structure of this case is very unusual. That's not to say it won't end in a criminal conviction, but there will be a lot of novel legal issues that the judge will have to sort out before this case even goes to trial.
So, Jeffrey, just to boil it down so people understand, I mean, is it, you know,
right.
We know that John Edwards received hundreds of thousands of dollars from one of his political donors. But isn't the question is whether that was to cover up the affair so he could win an election, or whether it was just to cover up an affair and hide it from his wife? I mean, is that basically what the jury has to decide between?
Well, I think that is one of the issues they will have to decide. Another issue, which I think is very important, is what was John Edwards' role personally in soliciting this contribution, in deciding how the money would go? Because a lot of the money was handled, apparently, by Andrew Young, the aide who initially took the claim to be the father of Riel Hunter's baby. So Edwards' personal involvement in these transactions will be very important. So, because I think one of the claims by the defense will be is that Edwards had almost no involvement in how this money was solicited and then spent.
And so, John Edwards is a wealthy man himself, right? John Edwards is a wealthy man himself, so why couldn't he have spent his own money to cover up this affair?
Why didn't he spend his own money? And another complication is this money came from Bunny Mellon, who was a philanthropist in Virginia, and Fred Barron, who was a wealthy trial lawyer in Texas. He's since died. So he will not be available as a witness, which will complicate matters probably for both sides in terms of determining what his intent in this whole process was.
Well, you know, when you really think about how this trial will go down and the testimony that will be heard, this could be one of the most sordid trials ever. I mean, as far as a trial of a political figure.
And that's what makes this such a bizarre set of circumstances, because on the one hand, I mean, it's just awful. I mean, here you have Elizabeth Edwards dying, you have John Edwards having this affair, having this child, all of which, you know, was going to make the jury not like this guy. And then you have these really rather technical issues about what's a campaign contribution and what the Federal Election Commission laws really say. The defense's challenge will be to get the jury not to focus on the underlying behavior, but to focus on the legal issues. And, you know, that's going to be hard because the facts are, as you say, so sordid.